35,000. That's the number of decisions you make on a daily basis. And if you multiply that by the number of days in a year, you get 12 million decisions. And once you stack all those years on top of each other, the probability for you to be where you are exactly at this moment is practically impossible. You're exactly where you need to be. All those millions of choices you made, they've impacted your life, whether in a significant way or an insignificant way, for you to be where you are right now. And these are both conscious and unconscious choices that you're making. Consciously, you're aware of the choices you make. You know, the type of clothes you want to wear when you go to school, the type of food you want to eat when you come back, the type of assignments you decide to not do because you check Canvas and see that if you don't do this assignment, it's not going to impact your grade. And then you have subconscious choices, which are choices that you're not consciously making, you're not aware of it, but they're happening in the back of your head while you're doing other activities. For example, when you're writing a school project, or you have a project to get done and you're feeling some sort of resistance, feeling like I really don't want to do this, but you end up persevering, you end up pushing through and doing it anyways. That is your brain making this decision to continue working rather than stopping. All these millions of decisions you chose to make have brought you to the present moment, to where you are right now. And you think that you're not supposed to be here. You feel left behind in life because you go on Instagram and see 18-year-old high school dropouts making millions of dollars a year. You see little kids who haven't even hit puberty yet go Instagram famous, TikTok famous for making these stupid dances online. You see the people you've gone to high school with who grown up, living their best life, traveling the world, meeting all sorts of women, all sorts of parties, all sorts of recreational haram activities, and you feel like you're left behind. You should be where they are right now. But the fact of the matter is, you're not. You're exactly where you need to be, and that's okay. You know, our brain seems to think in extremes sometimes. It thinks when we fail one test, we're a failure. When we get one woman, all of a sudden we have unlimited charisma. Our brains only think black and white. It doesn't really think anything in between. And so when you do something successful, when you do something that, you know, correlates with success, all of a sudden your brain starts pumping in chemicals to your throughout your body, making you feel like a success. But then once you fail at something, once you, I don't know, you fail a test in school, you don't really hit your quota for work, the opposite happens. Your brain starts pumping chemicals that make you feel like a failure. You need to be aware when that happens, because it's going to make you ruminate about the past. It's going to make you ruminate about the future, make you not really be aware of the present. Because forget about the past. The past is the past. You can't go back in time and change it. You can't tell somebody, bro, can you give me a time machine? I want to go back and change this mistake I made in my life. You can't do that. So forget about the past. The past, whatever happened in the past, it doesn't matter anymore because it's gone now. Then we also think about the future. We're robbing ourselves of joy of the present moment by thinking about something that hasn't happened yet. You know, it's good to plan. You want to be able to plan for the future so you know what to do, but you don't want to be living in the future. You don't want your whole life to be revolved about, oh, what if this is going to happen? What if that's going to happen? Because you're robbing yourself of lessons that you can learn right now, and you're robbing yourself of emotions you can experience right now. Every single life lesson you've learned in your life, every single moment of growth that's happened in your life, all came because you were going through life and you were learning. All the emotions you've experienced in life, whether it's happiness, whether it's like a heartbreak, whether it's like some sort of depression, anxiety, whatever you felt when you're living in the moment, you can feel all of these emotions. Everybody wants to say it's bad to be sad, it's bad to be happy. If you just want to focus on being happy, that's not true. You want to actually experience all the emotions. People want to take stoicism so far and feel like, oh, I have no emotions, bro, I'm a stoic, which is delusional, bro, because stoicism doesn't mean you have no emotions. Stoicism just means you can feel the emotions, but you won't let it affect you in your daily life. You won't go through a breakup and start going on a rampage around town shooting girls. You'll feel the breakup, you'll feel hurt, but then you move on. That's what stoicism is. It's not about, oh, she broke up, I don't really care because I'm stoic. You rob yourself of life experiences when you're not living in the present, realizing that you're exactly where you need to be because of the decisions you made in the years ago. I remember when I was in university, I would always compare myself to other people, thinking, I could be so much more further in my life if I had actually done what he did, if I did what she did, because I started off as like a psychology major because I've always enjoyed psychology, learning about the brain, learning about the mind. But because I had terrible mental health, I had to either drop all my classes or I failed all of my classes. I just could not do school. I couldn't put my head down and focus because all these assignments that I had to look at and read and write, it all just looked like a bunch of words on the screen. I just could not focus and sit still to focus on my work. So I dropped all my classes, took a gap year, took another gap year because I moved to Texas. So I didn't want to pay like out of state tuition. Then I changed majors again, changed majors a third time, and we're here now. 23 years old, no college degree. But that's besides the point because the reason I'm here right now is because of the choices I made in the past. Had I actually took some time to fix my mental health, had I took some time to hire a tutor to help me with studying, had I actually stayed away from the degenerate party scene and stayed home and focused and study, I probably would have gotten my degree 3 years ago. 2 years in advance, 2 years ahead of everybody else in my class. But because I decided to do all these things and to have terrible mental health, to have terrible study habits, it led me to where I am now, and it is my fault. You need to start taking more responsibility for it. And you can't just say, oh, well, I have negative $23 in my bank account. My mom's in the hospital. I'm homeless. I have nothing. It doesn't matter, bro. Like, I'm sorry that you have a messed up life. I'm sorry that you're in the position you are now, but you need to start taking more responsibility because it's not your fault that everything happened to you, but it's going to be your fault if you do nothing about it. If you don't decide to change, because you might be in the position you are now, but you can always change that. That's not an excuse for you to be mediocre. You have your entire life ahead of you to make changes, to do something with your life, but you wanted to use your handicaps as an excuse, saying, oh, I'm poor and I'm broke and my mom's in the hospital, so I can't do any work. That's not true. How many other people do you know whose moms are struggling? How many other people do you know who were homeless and they've made something out of themselves? So you can't be using that as an excuse. As long as you're putting in work, as long as you actually make an effort to make a change in your life to become better, then you're going to be better, because it's not going to happen overnight. Because just imagine how many years it took you to get to the position you are now. Let's say you're 20 years old and you spent the last 15 years of your life indulging in bad habits like smoking, like playing video games all night, by ruining your mental health, by not sleeping, not taking sunlight, eating processed junk. You are not going to be able to cut it out immediately. So you might be in a terrible position where your health is terrible, your mental health is terrible, your entire life is like declining, but you can change it one step at a time if you take responsibility now. And I know you can do it, because you wouldn't be watching this video, you wouldn't be this far into the video if you didn't think that you wouldn't be able to succeed, if you didn't truly think you could make a change. Because your decision to click on this video and make it this far into the video was supposed to happen. The one thing you can't do is just constantly complaining in anxiety, constantly rolling around in anxiety, thinking I shouldn't be here, I should be so much more further in my life, I should have a nice house, a nice car, a nice wife and everything. Just forget about it. That's your anxiety talking. Your anxiety is just going to cause further stagnation in your life, further ruminating, where you can't even actually enjoy your life. You can't actually make progress in it because you're too focused up here. And when you do the work, when you put in the work to start becoming better, you need to have faith that is going to happen. People, there's two types of people in the modern world. There's the manifestors and there's the realists. Manifestors just want to say, I am, and they think they're going to get it. I am wealthy. I am healthy. I am attractive. I attract people to me. I attract money to me. I live in a life of abundance. They'll say all this bullshit and then they don't do any work about it. How are you going to say all these affirmations but not actually do any work? Then there's the other side where there's people who only rely on themselves, saying, I'm just going to do this, bro. I'm going to like work hard. I'm going to work 80 hours a week. I don't need anybody. I don't need any like words of affirmation and stuff. Those people might get some success, but what if you combine the two? What if you actually worked hard and you made these affirmations and you actually like put your faith into God that everything's going to be fine? Because everything will be fine. You just can't see it at the moment. It's like the stock market, bro. Your life Your life is literally like the stock market. You can be down at your lowest right now, but if you zoom out and see the entire picture, you see that even though you're at your lowest right now, compared to where you started, you're probably way higher, the highest you've ever been. So you just need to keep working at it and just keep on putting your faith in God. There was a story in the Hadith, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like this man came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he asked him, should I tie my camel or should I not tie my camel and just put my faith in God? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, tie the camel and put your faith in God. Because you can't just put all your faith in God and make sure nothing happens, but you can't also just do something and not like have faith in God. You have to do both of them to actually have success. But the last point I wanted to make is that it's not an excuse for you to be mediocre. Even if you have had a bad card dealt to you in your life, if you have all these negative experience happen to you, it's not a reason to be mediocre. Yes, you want to be in the present. You want to be accepting of the present moment. You want to be able to work towards creating a better present version of yourself, better present life. But that doesn't mean that if something negative is happening to you, you're just going to accept it. Like imagine you're sitting in traffic. All 5 lanes are blocked off, but you see an exit here where you can exit. You check your phone, you see that if you take this exit, you can probably get to your destination in half an hour faster. But you choose not to. You choose not to because you think, oh bro, I'm in traffic right now, I might as well just stay in traffic. No. Just if you have a choice, if you have a way to get better, to get to your destination faster, take it. Because you're capable of so much more. You're capable of actually doing so much more work, but you don't see it because of all the self-destructing habits that you've partaken in, that you can't really see how much more potential you really have at being successful. Because your life is like a video game, bro. You can change the ending. There's so many different endings in video games. In GTA, bro, you can either kill Trevor, you can kill Michael, you can save them both. Red Dead Redemption, you have like the good ending, you have the bad ending, you have like multiple endings in these games. It's just same way as real life. The choices you decide to make in the future will strictly correlate with what your outcome is in life. So if you start now, it's never too late to start, but if you start right now and become better, you will become better. It's the laws of cause and effect. What you put in, you will receive. If you put in work and actual effort, you will be rewarded for it. So you're exactly where you need to be in your life.